So, HP just dropped its new OmniBook 5, and they're calling it a next-gen AI PC. That's a pretty big claim, but is this a real game changer, or is it just clever marketing? Well, today we're going to deconstruct this thing. We'll cut through the hype to figure out what it is, what it really does, and what the first people to actually buy it are saying.
Let's be real. We've all been there. You're crushing it in the morning, totally in the zone, and then, boom, that dreaded low battery notification pops up. It's got to be one of the most universal frustrations with laptops, right?
Well, HP is betting they finally cracked the code. This right here is the OmniBook 5, and it's not just a refresh of an old model. Nope. It's built on a totally different kind of brain, a processor that promises to completely flip the script on what we should expect from battery life and performance.
Okay, so first things first, what in the world makes this an AI laptop?
And the answer to that really comes down to what's under the hood. You see, unlike pretty much every other Windows laptop you've used, this one doesn't have an Intel or AMD chip. It's powered by a Snapdragon X processor. And that's not just a different brand name. It's a whole different architecture, designed from the ground up for two things: being ridiculously power efficient and handling artificial intelligence.
And when you start looking into this laptop, you're going to see this number plastered everywhere. 47 TOPS. Okay, but what on earth does that actually mean for you and me? TOPS just stands for trillions of operations per second. The easiest way to think about it is like horsepower for a car's engine, but specifically for the AI part of the chip. This part is called the NPU. So the higher the TOPS number, the more AI muscle the computer has to flex.
So, what does having all that AI horsepower actually get you? Well, the big idea is that the laptop can run really powerful AI features right there on the machine itself, without having to send your private data to some server in the cloud. This on-device brain is always working in the background, personalizing your experience, optimizing the battery life, and basically making the whole computer feel smarter and snappier.
And all that efficiency we just talked about? Well, it leads directly to what is, without a doubt, HP's most jaw-dropping claim for this machine: its battery life.
34 hours of local video playback. Let that sink in. To give you some perspective, a flight from New York to Sydney is about 20 hours long. You could watch movies the entire flight and still have enough battery left to fly almost all the way back. It's just a massive, massive number.
Of course, we all know those official numbers are tested in a perfect lab somewhere. What about the real world? Well, even here, the reports are pretty incredible. A verified buyer, Jamachia Monik, says they're getting close to 10 hours of just normal web browsing and Microsoft Office work. That's a full, proper workday, completely untethered from the wall. Pretty impressive.
You know, a super long battery life is only great if the screen is something you actually want to stare at for all those hours. So let's take a look at what the OmniBook 5 is packing in the display department.
The OmniBook 5 features a 2K OLED screen. So what does that jumble of letters mean? Well, OLED tech gives you those perfectly deep, inky blacks and amazing contrast that makes images pop. The super fast response time means no motion blur when you're scrolling or watching action scenes. And that DCI-P3 coverage, that's a fancy way of saying the colors are incredibly rich and accurate, which is amazing for watching movies or doing any kind of creative work. And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. This picture isn't from some glossy marketing campaign. It's from an actual customer. You can really get a sense of how vibrant and sharp that screen looks, even in just a normal everyday setting.
All right, so we've heard HP's promises and we've gone through the specs, but now it's time for the moment of truth. What do the people who've actually shelled out their own cash for this laptop have to say about it?
Looking at 75 reviews from actual owners, the overall picture is really positive. You've got a combined 81% of users giving it either 4 or 5 stars. For a brand new type of product, that is a very, very strong start.
And this review from Divya really captures what a lot of people are loving. She talks about the sleek design, the powerful performance, and how it's just a great all-arounder for both getting work done and for personal use.
But of course, no device is perfect. And there's one complaint that comes up a few times, highlighted here by Pradeep, and this is important. It's aimed specifically at the 14-inch model. It doesn't have a backlit keyboard. Now, for anyone who types in dim lighting, that can honestly be a deal breaker. And here it is. This is probably the single most important catch you need to know about. That new Snapdragon processor is the secret to the amazing battery life, but it also means that not every single Windows app out there is perfectly optimized for it, at least not yet. Just like Anith Krishna says, if you rely on very specific, niche software for your job, you absolutely need to check if it's compatible before you buy. So let's just lay it all out. You've basically got two main choices. There's the 14-inch model, which is a bit lighter and cheaper, but you get less storage and you have to live without that backlit keyboard. Or, for a little more cash, you can step up to the 16-inch model, which bumps up the storage, gives you the backlit keyboard, and has a slightly different version of the processor.
So, when we boil it all down, who should be looking at this machine? Well, it's perfect for students or professionals who are just sick and tired of their battery dying halfway through the day. It's for anyone who loves watching movies or does creative work and wants that stunning OLED display. And finally, it's for those early adopters, the people who get excited about the future of AI and are willing to be on the cutting edge, even if it means dealing with a few software quirks along the way.
Look, the HP OmniBook 5 is one of the very first laptops of this new wave, but it sure won't be the last. And that leaves us with a much bigger question to chew on. Is this the start of a real revolution? Is powerful AI running right on our laptops going to completely change how we use our computers every single day? I guess only time will tell.